Hi, my name is Hans from SmartLinks Digital, and I'm going to be going over your SEO audit report and what it really means to you, why you can find here where your customers are coming from, and why this is important. So now know that you're probably saying to yourself, well, Hans, we really don't get customers on the web and the internet, and we don't know too much about that, but we haven't met you already, and so on and so forth. But what I'm saying is that we have a long track record of showing people like yourself how you can actually change from being an offline business mostly to getting targeted customers online. So we're going to dive in right here, and I'm going to show you what everything means. Okay, so I'm going to be going over with you about what your audit really is and how it's affecting your business. So first thing here, the first thing you'd see if you follow along with this in your report, you'll see the page load speed test. So that basically means, if people are not finding you within 3 seconds, you're losing both Google rankings from that, and it'll cost you customers, because the attention span of the average YouTuber out there that they've been doing studies is only 7 seconds. So you have 3 seconds for the page to load and 4 seconds basically for them to decide whether or not they regret going to your website or not. So the more seconds you actually have in those 7 seconds, if you have 2 minus 5, that's going to be a lot better than 5 plus 2, if you know what I mean, if your website takes longer to load. So definitely that's an issue that can always be improved, but you'll see that in the report. And then the next section, you'll see suggestions for a website, and that's basically a lot of gobbledygook CSS code things that Ninja requirement to understand. So I understand what that might not be comprehensible. So I'm going to be going over some of my suggestions for your website as well, and that is that your website is organized in a fashion that it's really only about one thing primarily, and then you have secondary and third things. So a good way to remember this is having your subject being probably the city plus what you do, and then for your H2 tags, you would have the relevant subcategories and even subcategories of what you do and other services that you offer. And that establishment isn't clear on your website as it is right now. Now let's go over the next thing. You don't really have the city pages organized in a way, and you're not drawing from all the cities that you could be probably. So that's something like a bigger picture thing that we can talk about as far as knowing for a fact where you service and where not. It's not coming clearly because you don't have other pages. And the way Google likes to crawl your website is that you have one subject about one topic. So if you have one whole area, it's not going to be as good as if you have pages for each. And that's going to help you organize as well as create sub-niche categories for your different subjects. So if you have a secondary subject that you offer a service, that can be organized on another page as well, so that it'll be crawled more easily in Google. And why is this? Well, it's because Google wants to know what your site's about, and they crawl really one page at a time. And so you can't rank for a million different things on one page. That's just the way it is. So they're biased against that, you could say. And then there's the third thing that I'm finding is that you don't really have enough content to rank. Minimally, it depends on the niche, of course, but minimally you want to outrank your competitors, because more often than not, the people ranking in the first 3 spots of Google, they've got some powerful SEO tactics. So this is an easy way to at least have that part covered so that you're not undernourished there. It's a more cost-effective way of being able to show Google what your site is about by having some more content, whether it's 500 more words about what your business is about. It's also going to help your customers really understand what you're about. Okay, next thing, page load speed test. So this was where we tested your mobile page speed, and most of the time, it's usable. It's always going to be a little bit slower on a mobile device. Next thing, page load usability test. So this basically means if it's mobile friendly or mobile efficient. So if your website's just hard to read on a mobile phone, and just because it's looks okay on your phone doesn't mean that it looks okay on someone else's phone. So just something to be aware of. Social counter, you want to have all the social signals that where your customers engage. So if you and also builds rapport and trust. Something I would add here is, like having a BBB or these other kind of establishments that are approving your company is also a very big rapport and trust factor for your customers. So it's a converting factor for sure. Robots and sitemap, that's something that usually is not organized. I think it's not. So that's something that needs to be taken a look at. Why is this important? Well, it's important because then Google can crawl your site easily and pass juice from the home page. So if your site's about if your site's about apples, it can pass juice to the page just talking about red apples, if you know what I mean. More effectively if that sitemap is set up. Domain rank. This part shows you where your keywords how many keywords you're ranking for actually. And that's kind of a vague thing because you'll be ranking for really some weird things out there that you'd never know. So we can definitely talk to you about what you're ranking in the whole full gamut report. So this is basically a summary. Then the top ranking keywords. And really what we're finding the biggest problem, all of this right here, it's a result of this being lacking. So if you're not on the top spots for your city and your niche, it means that these things are deficient, and so here you're going to find where your customers are finding you right now, and where most of your search volume comes from. So if you're an established brand, you'll be getting some of that traffic just from your name, and that's what's happening most of the time. We want to help you find a way to be able to outreach in other ways so that you're not just leveraging your own brand, but also what people are generally looking for to find you when they're not right now. So below you'll be finding a way to actually book a time to talk to me, and we'll be talking about where you are really right now and how to make anything that's subpar into excellence so that we could have a clear picture of where you could be at and what is actually possible, because we need to make sure that everything would work in your benefit and your favor first. Talk to you soon.